Well, how do you want me to start in the beginning? Little Rock was kind of a small town then, and everybody kind of knew everybody else. So it just wouldn't have occurred to me not to come. We had a big crowd here at the opening, and I was stationed in the hall of the grog shop. We called it the Candlelight House then. My friend Peg Smith was also here, but she was a notch or two higher up in the echelon because she was in costume. But it really was an exciting time. And then after it opened, I was a volunteer guide. We weren't very businesslike either when they started because nothing was corded off. And I know one time I was having a school group and they knocked over, I guess it's still here, a writing desk that's pretty narrow anyway, but anyway, they knocked it over, and also a few things disappeared along the way too. That was too bad, but I volunteered. I don't think I do anything anybody would pay for, so, well, let's see, I was a junior league volunteer, and I must say that kind of conditioned me for doing things in the community. Oh, I've worked with the Pulaski County Historical Society. I've really done that for a long time. I was on the Quapaw Quarter Board for a while. Booker and I were treasurers of the campaign to put in a national herb garden in Washington at the National Arboretum there. It's, I think, the largest herb garden we say it's in the world. It may not be, but it's pretty large anyway. Well, let's see, what else did I do? Well, I was on the Art Center board for a while, and I was a president of the Fine Arts Club, and I did a lot with my church. Been on the orchestra board for a while. Oh, I was on the Mount Holly board I think I joined that in 1953, so I've been on it a long time. I was treasurer for 40 years, and then, of course, the Herb Society. I was treasurer of a lot of things just because my name was Worthen, and I didn't mind being. I like being treasurer, as a matter of fact, but that's why I was asked to do it, I'm sure. Of course, I haven't been here every year, all year, since 1941, because I stopped and had children along the way and got involved with some other things, but I've always been interested in this. And it was in the early 70s, the late 60s actually, when the Herb Society started, and we wanted to have an herb garden down here. Then we thought, well, what do we put in it? And since we didn't really know, somebody suggested that we just hire somebody to do the research and to tell us what we should have. Well, that really infuriated me. If we were supposed to be an herb garden, herb group, and had to hire somebody else to tell us what to put in, that didn't seem right. So that's when I took on the job of doing research to see what they did use then as medicines. So I was really hooked at that point. It's a fairly extensive garden, and when we ordered labels for the herbs, some people don't like labels, but they're awfully helpful if you'd like to know what that plant is. We had to get about 100, so they're not always that many herbs in the garden because a lot of them are wild, and they live only so long in captivity. And we haven't been out in the woods gathering more lately. We're all getting so old, at least some of us are. I'll keep going as long as I can. As I say, I like pulling the weeds, and of course, you really have to know what you're doing because so many of the plants, and at least several of the plants in there are weeds. And we want to leave them. It's just those other weeds that we don't want. Of course, I'm just delighted that he came here and was interested, and I think he's done a good job. Of course, I must admit to a little prejudice there. To work with him and to see him and to see how things are going, and of course, it's a little bit of nepotism in this, and I feel a little bit awkward that if I was here before you were, Bill. But I feel like, well, to those who are so fortunate to have been given a lot, that you have a responsibility to give it back. And I've certainly been lucky and blessed in my life, and I hope I've given a little something back in return to my community and my friends and my state. This just feels a wonderful spot in our heritage, and I'm just so glad that I've been able to have a small part in it.